Chad fucking sucks.
Oh my goodness.
No.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Anyways.
We're gonna start doing this now. We're gonna start starting the podcast like right in the middle of one of our conversations.
We should.
Because I feel like some of the funniest stuff we say is at the very start and at the very end, like before and right after we stop recording.
It is.
So
it is. Yes, it is. It is. So.
Yeah.
All right. So welcome to.
Go.
Welcome to episode 20. Episode 20 of the Flag to Flag podcast, where we talk about all things NASCAR, Formula One, IndyCar, and anything going on in the local racing scene. This is your host, the motorsport enthusiast, John DeRouters, as well as our other host here, Mr. Chad Barker, with his lovely drink of choice, water. I just finished a little bit of espresso here.
Yes,
so
this is the only thing.
It is. And my glass
healthy.
of look at that. Healthy Chad.
Healthy Pete.
Healthy
I
Chad.
say healthy. Mom, I love my mom to death, but she sent me this thing.
Honey buns?
No.
Gushers. Pop-Tarts. Fruit snacks.
It's called Snack Box.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
And it's just a bunch of
snacks.
I love them, but
Mix.
I'm trying to lose some weight right now because I've gained a lot of weight over the past since the year started. Well, I kind of had I had some lenience there, but I weighed myself last time I went home and I had gained like 30 pounds since when I first went to college.
Whoa, you got the freshman 15.
Yeah, times 2.
The freshman 30.
Yeah, because and I looked at it, I was like, geez, I knew it was bad when I told Michael, and Michael was just like, shoot, you're not far off from me. I'm like, I gotta start working out now, dude.
Yeah, dude, you gotta get on my grind. Gotta get on my workout plan, bro.
You do work out a shoot ton.
I do.
Ton, dude. It is, yeah. But
to give you context, when I was a freshman in college, I weighed maybe 145, 150, and I'm 210. So
210 of what?
I mean, you've seen me in person.
that is true. So like my brother Ryan, he started off when he started getting into middle school and started being on the line and stuff, he started, they were trying to get the guys big, so he was eating and eating. So in middle school, it was mainly fat at that point.
Right.
Then he got to high school, and they're like, all right, now we got to turn all that into muscle. So now Ryan weighs more than what he did in middle school, but it's mainly muscle.
Muscle,
I mean, he is. With him, we forget how strong he is sometimes, and it's kind of funny.
Yeah,
but
he's a big dude.
He is. Have you ever met him before?
No, I didn't meet him. I haven't met him yet.
Not at the
No.
Mm-mm. Really?
Yep.
I mean, we were all running around doing.
Yeah, no, he was up at the front quite a bit.
Yeah. But you saw him.
Oh, I could see him. Yeah, he's one of the biggest dudes there, in a positive aspect.
I know. I was thinking, like, what was your and Sophia's reaction the first time you saw Ryan? You probably didn't have a big reaction due to where you were at.
No, but I've seen him before in the show. He's just walked behind you and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's him.
He's freaking huge.
Yeah, I think the biggest shock I know Sophia was questioning was Gertie's snowshoe policy. I was like, I'm serious. He will not wear shoes. Like,
bro,
I don't know.
That's one of the guys. Like, I know this is a racing podcast, but like, he's one of those guys where like I'd want to get him on here because he does a bunch of stuff.
That'd be fun. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
let's do it.
But it'd be like But like, here's the thing, like. That'd be like an episode where just like, okay, we're going to release 2 episodes, one racing based and one just about our friend with no shoes.
The life story of Gertie and his no shoes. So he wears no shoes, and we showed up to the there, and I was like, he's not going to have shoes on. I'm telling you. I'm like, no, and he won't. And we walk in, and I was like, remember the no shoes guy? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, and she was
I pointed him out to my friends, some of my old friends from church, and they said,
hold on, it's giving me.
I see it too. I see it too.
Is it me?
It's both of us. You seem fine.
You seem okay.
We're both at 99%.
Yeah, that was weird. Okay.
Yeah,
so we're going to leave that in. That was a technical difficulty live that it just solved through. So there you go. Okay.
It's not a Flag to Flag podcast episode without a technical difficulty.
That should be our slogan. That should be our slogan. Technical difficulties and I can't say that.
And what?
I wasn't going to make fun of your intelligence. I promise. I'm joking. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, but
college degree.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
You are. That's true.
But how was your week? You
Good.
were out of town for the weekend.
I was out of
Out of town for the weekend. Yeah.
We were. I went to the Masters. That was an incredible experience. I mean, it was.
I didn't know you went to I just saw you went to Atlanta. I didn't know you went to.
We were going through it. We were going through Atlanta to get to Augusta, but we went down. Future father-in-law.
Prices are like.
I
feel like it's insane, but the other way. Not like Formula One insane. Like it's cheap insane. How much was your ticket?
Well, it was through her dad, her dad. So it's company. Yeah, the company. Okay. So it was.
I got you.
It was. I don't know, but it's very exclusive. So like you have a lot of people who, it's like family tickets, like passed down. They're very, very, very picky about how their tickets go. I don't really know about if there's GA, like general admission. I have no clue.
Did you have like a designated seat?
So there was no. It's not seats.
I've never been to a golf.
So I haven't either. So the way a golf tournament works, when you walk in, it's just all grass. It's all grass. You do have some stands, some bleachers, but it's not like you have a specific seat at a specific hole. You can walk around with a folding chair that they provide or that you buy or you bring that you can go and sit at a hole. There's a lot of different ways to actually watch a golf tournament. The majority of people will stand and just walk around the course and follow a golfer or stay at one specific hole and stand, whatever they want to do. Another way is you can plant down your chair and sit at the same hole all day long. You can move holes within, however long you go. But they also have at some holes, typically near the green, the putting green, they have stands that you can sit in. You can plant yourself all day long, but it's first come, first serve. So that's everywhere on the course, no matter what hole you're at, no matter if you're in a chair, if you're standing. So there are some holes where we stood up right up against the rope, which is where the fairway would start. Sometimes we had 3 rows of chairs in front of us that weren't ours, that people will literally plant their chair there for the entire day and come and go as they please. So it's a lot of walking, a lot of standing around, but it was incredible. And the cool thing about the Masters is that the apparel and the pro shop and all the things that they sell at the Masters can only be bought at the Masters. Like there are some other, not knockoffs, but there are other non-Masters specific products that are master products, but they're not from the Masters themselves. So like, for example, there's these gnomes. People love gnomes and they're highly collectible. And so you can, they're like little garden gnomes and they're different every year.
To each their own, I guess.
Yeah, I got myself a mini gnome. So
where is it? Let's see. Where?
It's somewhere in the back. It's in a bag. So basically, every single piece of gear there is from the Masters. It's more highly sought after. It's exclusive because you can't buy it and literally anywhere else outside of a reseller selling stuff that they bought from the Masters. So that's why it's so I was in line for about 40 minutes at the pro shop.
Gnome?
No, I have a lot of friends who are in the golf. I'm into golf, so I got myself some shirts, some hats. We were there for a while. And so I bought a lot of stuff for all my friends who are really into golf. Who are really into golf. So
So I probably didn't get anything.
I'll give you my experience. I'll share my experience with you.
It's
no,
fine.
You're not in the golf. You're not in the golf though.
I'm not. Okay, I don't want to say I'm not.
We went to Top Golf once, and that was.
I did, and I will play golf. But it's it's not something I'll very much sit down and watch. What I've noticed with myself was when I was racing, when I was in the car and we were racing every single weekend, I found myself not watching NASCAR that much.
Right. Yeah.
And it wasn't because for a lack of sport or anything like that. It was just Sundays I would be unloading the car. I'd just be doing stuff, or I'd honestly just be relaxing.
Yeah.
And it just be. So I found myself doing that, but I mean, still, I love it. It's. But I mean, that had to be a. I just thought you were in Atlanta. I didn't know you were.
No. So I didn't. So I didn't post about it mainly because one, I don't post much on my personal anyways, on my personal feeds. But at the Masters, you can't have your phones. So they have a no phone policy. So you go in, you literally drop your phone off. So we were working, we had a hospitality company that had the tickets, so we were over there. So we left our phones with them all day long.
So you felt like the man walking in there. Yeah.
my little lanyard, little card, everything.
You were important.
Yes. And so we had to leave our phones. We had to leave our phones because they don't allow phones into the facility because they want to control all the media, the photography, the videography around the event. And so if you get caught with that, you're thrown out. And so if anything happens with your ticket, if you go through one of these other companies, there's a pretty hefty fine. I mean, hefty fine if you lose your tickets or if you lose your lanyard.
There was like a long period of time where I just didn't hear from you. I didn't see anything, and I was just like, because like usually you post regular. What day did you go?
We were there, so I didn't have my phone from about 7 to 8 a.m. on Saturday, all until about like 5 or 6 on Saturday. Okay. On Saturday,
because usually you'll post stuff like about racing and this other stuff, and I just
it was just a long weekend because we drove in Friday. So I posted stuff Friday. I posted to Kyle Busch because I was literally in our hotel watching the race, and then all Saturday we were at the tournament. So, but it was the most immaculate piece of grass. I know it sounds like layman's terms, but the facility was gorgeous.
I imagine so.
The trees. The trees
for something like that. I mean, it's got to be.
It's the most sought after golf tournament in the world. Like if you go to the Masters and you win the Masters, that is like
you've made it.
It's the Super Bowl. It's the Daytona 500. It's the world. It's the biggest one. And so I was there all day Saturday. That was a great event, great thing. We drove back, Saturday night. So that was fun. So that was my weekend. And it was wild. Also, the pimento cheese sandwiches there.
I've heard they're famous for their pimento cheese sandwich.
It's fantastic, and the cool thing is they probably the best pimento cheese sandwich I've ever had. The cool thing about their pricing when they have with their concessions.
Talking about golf.
Really, like you expect racing? Yeah, you expect racing. And we're talking about the Masters. Like what the fuck?
Exactly.
So their prices have been consistent. I don't know what the year is. They've been consistent for a very long time. So Sophia's dad and I, we both got 2 sandwiches. We both got a ice cream sandwich and a drink. So that's 4 sandwiches in total, 2 ice cream sandwiches and 2 drinks for $17. If that shows you the prices. The pimento cheese sandwiches were $1.50. Like, yeah.
$1.50?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, seriously.
Yo, that's so insane.
It's cool. Yeah, and they had payphones. So you can't have your phone, but they have payphones that you don't have to pay for, but you can call anybody as long as you have their number. And the only number I know of is Sophia's. Like I don't know anybody else's number by heart. I'm sorry. I don't know your number by heart.
I don't know yours, but I mean it's
I don't even know I don't know a lot of people's numbers by heart. I think I only know Sophia's.
So the only 2 people's phone numbers I ever knew by heart were my mom and my dad.
Yeah.
So, and you had to know those. I had to know those being a kid,
Yeah.
I had my mom's, and then I had my dad's, and I still have my dad's. But yeah. That had to be one of the, because the no phones thing, that makes a lot of sense, because I had a buddy who I used to my buddy Parker. He went to he went to one of the days. I think he went the Friday or one of the I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But they posted photos, and they looked like Polaroid photos or like little camera photos or stuff like that. I was just like, I don't know if that's just a filter they're using or what. And then now that you mentioned that, I never see anything off of someone's personal phone from the Masters.
Right. Yeah. So you can't bring in any cameras.
Really?
Yeah. You can't bring any.
What it was, but
yeah. Which I was shocked. I was talking to Sophia's dad about this. I was like, I'm surprised they don't have like a photo booth there where you could take a photo with like a background or with like something that is there. So because you can't have cameras.
Kind of like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You can't have cameras. You can't have phones. You can't have any kind of video recording, device. You can't have any devices. And yeah, so it's very, they make it as exclusive as possible. It's really cool though, because nobody's on their phones. No one, like literally nobody.
That has to be a cool experience.
Yeah.
I used to be involved in this thing called Young Life.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it was super cool, super fun. And whenever we'd go on trips and stuff, once we were about 30 minutes from from where we were supposed to go, no phones.
Yep.
They took everyone's phones. You're sitting like, hey, text you. They had like phones, like you said, where you could pick up and call folks. And I remember one time I was there the weekend of a race at the fairgrounds, and my dad was watching it, and I called him and I'm sitting there and it was Michael's race, and I'm sitting there just listening. My dad's telling me what's happening during the race.
Really?
And you have like a 15-minute time limit. So I'm like hanging up, calling him back, hanging him up, calling him back. And it was for like 15 minutes. And luckily it was during free time. So it was like, I didn't miss anything important, but yeah, so I kind of get that kind of experience.
Gotcha.
Being on their phones, which
cool.
It's, yeah, but my weekend, honestly, it was pretty relaxing, pretty chill.
Nice.
I've had class. This weekend, I was supposed to go to North Carolina, but I got a text message. They didn't need me. And I was like, okay. So I called up my cousin John William.
That's you know what my middle name is, right? My middle name is William. Yes, it is.
Serious?
Dead serious, yeah. Dead serious.
So the reason we call him John William is because
man, that's good. That's a name that somebody would call me if I did something wrong as a kid.
John William DeRugeris.
Exactly.
But
yes, sir.
I'm here. But so my uncle's name, we called him Uncle John. But my aunt when my cousin John was little would always call him John William or J-Dub.
J-Dub.
And that's because my Uncle John. And so there was both names. And so I've always called him John William or John W or J-Dub or something like that. We've always called him
JW. Yeah.
Yeah, JW, something like that. And he goes to the University of Slippery Rock in Slippery Rock, Pennsylvania, which is only about 4 hours from here. So I went over there, had a good time, hung out, and and so then I drove back Sunday, listened to the race, and we had some big news kind of all across the board come out this weekend. And, so I feel like that's going to be super cool and fun to talk about. But yeah, why don't we what do we want to dive in? What do we have anything going on in IndyCar?
IndyCar outside of Prema, which we talked about, they came into an agreement, obviously, to field two teams. They came out with a couple following statements that they want to and come out and they don't expect to win, but they have high expectations, which is cool to see. I love the confidence. They are obviously in a lot of different other motorsports, very successful in F2. So you have Prema going there. That's going to be my team, the Italian team. I got to root for them now. But that's the only thing that I knew of from that perspective. Yeah. I know Kyle Larson did some more testing at Indianapolis.
It was a big test. He finished second.
Yeah, that's huge. That's insane. Obviously he's got a good car behind him. But he was talking about it, if you heard this on the broadcast this weekend at the Cup race, he was talking about the difference in speed and grip and how that correlated over to Texas. He was talking about those cars have so much grip, it doesn't feel like you're going 226 miles an hour.
It doesn't feel that fast.
It doesn't. But when you go to Texas in a Cup car, he said you feel like you're going to lose it at any second, and so you're on the razor's edge. Yeah,
you have to switch your brain almost. Like that's something I used to do. Would be, I'd load up. I'd load up Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and I'd run 50 laps in a Cup car on iRacing, and then I'd run 50 laps in an Indy car, and you have to completely switch your brain.
Right. Yep.
And it's insane. Looking at the formula or looking at the IndyCar news, obviously we have Prema coming. Obviously we have Kyle Larson making a big splash. But the big thing that came out today, improved lighter aero screen to debut at Long Beach.
Yep, that's interesting.
That is interesting. So I feel like, just kind of glossing over this real quick, I think it has air vents on it. It looks pretty similar to what we've seen in the past. Just looks like some air vents, maybe just allows better airflow throughout through it. But be cool to see how teams adapt with that. But what do you think?
I think it looks a little bit more high tech, and it looks good. I mean, I'm looking at the rendering right now. It's a very attractive windscreen, aero screen rather, and it looks like it's a 3D printed titanium aero screen frame, which is cool. Which is it weighs 6.8 pounds less. Total system is weight reduction of 11 pounds. Yeah. And apparently it's supposed to reduce downforce by approximately 35 pounds. So, that's going to have an effect on, which is interesting with the vents, but I think that's going to be interesting to see. It looks like it has an optional filter that can be added to the mesh to help filter any dust from entering the cockpit. So I think that could be very helpful on where these tracks where you're going to more of a traditional road course, where if you go off or you get in the grass, that shit's not hitting you in the face. Obviously not really much at a street circuit, but an oval or, I was going to say Sonoma, like a track, or Laguna Seca, where it's all sand, basically, and dirt. That'll help out there. But other than that, it looks like there isn't much IndyCar news. It looks like outside of that, Meyershank Racing driver Felix Rosenquist is going to be working with Prema in some fashion. Wow. I don't really know where or how, but it looks like he's going to be a part of it in some way. So that's going to be interesting there. He obviously has a history with Prema in other series. But other than that, Chad, I think that's it. I mean, we have the Long Beach Grand Prix this weekend, or the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach, excuse me, at 3:00 on Sunday, April 21st. So that's going to be a great race to watch. Always a fun one. It's a fun circuit. And, with these circuits, you got to think about what's happening in the world of IndyCar. Obviously, Joseph Newgarden getting the first win of the season. But we haven't seen IndyCar racing in about a month outside of the $1 million race, oh my gosh, I totally forgot, the Thermal Club. And there we go. Got the Indy 500 coming up too. So that's also a fun.
Indy 500 mug. We had a career fair over at my school. So it was really cool to see this. See one of the guys who helped build the motor for the Indy 500 winning car. So that's what I love about my school. You just meet so many cool people.
Oh yeah. I mean, you're so exposed, which is so cool.
But what is it? So, I mean, well, okay. So who are you thinking? Because here's the thing, like it's so up in the air with IndyCar a lot of the time, and
right.
We have, I mean, these guys, unless they've been doing stuff here and there, they've been out of the seat for a while.
Right.
So what do we?
I mean, if we're talking about picks, you have Joseph Newgarden, who won the Grand Prix of St. Pete. Right behind him, you have Pato O'Ward, but I'm looking at a driver who I think could make a bigger splash. I like Alex Palou. I think he has very strong on street circuits. He was always a factor at the Music City Grand Prix. I think he could get it done. Obviously, Newgarden winning in St. Pete will be a big factor. I think he has more drive, all puns not intended there, to drive well this year because of the fact that last year he was, one of the best drivers, of course.
Oh yeah.
But with Nashville going from a road course,
he all but won of the oval races last year.
which is huge because of the fact that Nashville's going to Nashville Superspeedway, going from a road course street circuit to a oval for the season finale. I think he is trying to say, this is my chance to win a championship in 2024. I think this is his staple. I think watch out for Newgarden again. I think he has the potential to win. Unfortunately, not now. Again, look who won at the Thermal, Alex Palou. I think
true.
You see with other series when a driver wins in, even if an exhibition, they continue to carry that momentum on because they can learn some things there. So I go with Alex Palou. I think Newgarden could possibly get it done too. What are your thoughts?
I mean, obviously, after looking at last week, Joseph Newgarden, you have to take him into consideration because, obviously he's a massive consideration whenever we go into these oval track races. But now, now he's starting to perform on these street circuits, okay? So now that's something to look into. That's a factor to think about. And so, it's going to be interesting. But I think I'm going to go with you with Alex Palou. I mean, he's one of the stronger road course street circuit drivers. I feel like he's a threat to win. Like he said, he was always a factor at Nashville, and so yeah, I would not be surprised if at the end of the year it comes down to those two once again.
Yeah, I think it could.
Yeah, but I mean, let's also look who we have here. I mean, we've got Scott McLaughlin and Will Power here, and then but someone who Oh, never mind. I forgot. Okay, never mind. But where is he? Oh, Colton Herta.
Yeah, he won in 2021. Yeah, he won in 21. So
he's a factor to look at as well. And then, but this is only race 2. All right, it's weird to think about that. We're already we're real deep into the NASCAR season already. We're getting in there with the Formula One season. We're in race 2 of IndyCar.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting to see the way that's going to play out. But yeah, but also something pretty cool. From having almost a month of no IndyCar, we're having 2 weeks back-to-back with Long Beach, and then we're going to Children's of Alabama Indy Grand Prix at Barber.
Yep, exactly, which is that'll be good.
Fun.
That will be really fun.
But yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. We had moving on to Formula One, we had some big news come out. I think Thursday, maybe? I think Thursday it came out that Fernando Alonso has extended his contract with Aston Martin, which I'm kind of on the fence about. Now, like I say all the time, I'm not Fernando Alonso. I'm not in the shop every weekend. I don't see what Fernando Alonso is seeing. But from the outside looking in, which is a completely different perspective from being inside, it's hard to say. They were so dominant at the start of the year last year, and then they kind of fell off.
Right.
But then again, you look at someone like McLaren, who was so poor at the beginning of last year and became so dominant at the end of last year.
Right.
So it's hard to see, because if we take Red Bull out of the equation, it'd be it'd be more up in the air. And obviously, Red Bull with this. And speaking of Red Bull, more specifically, Max Verstappen. So let me do some math here. Don't worry, I'll do it, John, because I know you struggle. So it has been 105 races since the last time we raced at the Chinese Grand Prix.
Okay.
If Max Verstappen wins this next race, which will be race 106, he will officially have won 50% of the races since the last time we were at the Chinese Grand Prix, which would be 53. The rest of the grid has won 53 races. Max Verstappen has won 52. If he wins this race, he would officially won 50%.
Yeah, that's
an insane statistic.
Freaking wild. I mean, he's so good. He's so good.
He's got a good car behind him too.
He
makes that with a good driver. It does play out pretty well.
Exactly. By the way, my math skills are better than yours. But going back to Max, it's going into a race where there's a little bit of an unknown. It's obviously they haven't raced at this track. They haven't raced in China in a little bit. So there's quite a bit of uncertainty that walks into that. But I think you're going to see some of the teams prevail. I think you're going to see Ferrari. I think you're going to see Red Bull. I think you're going to see the two most dominant teams the last 2 years, point wise, win wise. Obviously, Red Bull with Max, and Ferrari with Carlos Sainz. And with that being said, you go into another topic. Speaking of Ferraris, well, I'm going to backtrack a little bit to Fernando. If I was Aston Martin, I mean, obviously Fernando is great. He's one of the best, but that car is not great. Look at Stroll. I mean, it's just not a great car right now. And I mean, obviously they both have talent. I'm not a big fan of Lance for reasons that we've spoke about previously on the podcast. From I think there's better suited drivers to fill that spot, but can Fernando do something? Maybe. I mean, he still's got the talent, but I mean, I think it's at the point where he is going to retire. It's gonna happen. Is it going to be next year? I don't know. I mean, it's that point where talking about driver movement, we've had a lot already. With Lewis already announcing he's going to be taking Carlos Sainz's seat. Now, there's been reports that Carlos Sainz has apparently started to form discussions about an agreement with Mercedes. So which I haven't posted about it because nothing is, the speculation isn't from a lot of reliable outlets. I'm just going to say that right there. But that's a place there. So you're talking about Ferrari taken. I'm sure George has his seat secured with Mercedes.
Oh yeah.
I mean, everybody else though, I think it's fair game for at least one seat outside of Aston Martin now with Fernando signing, and I'm assuming as long as the older, as long as the Stroll is at the helm of Aston Martin, his son's going to be driving. His son's going to be driving.
I mean, that's basically it. One big thing that I just remembered, which is very surprising because we didn't get something like this. We only got the latest version of this a few months ago, like right before the turn of the new year, but already Formula One has released their 2025 schedule.
They have, and it starts in Australia.
We're going back to the Aussies to start us off for the year. And
which is
I kinda
great.
Like that. I kind of like that. I feel like that's a really good track to start the year off at.
I think it's fun. It's a high-speed track. It's going to produce a lot of unknowns.
Oh, yeah.
I love the move. I absolutely love the move. And let's talk about...
Let's go down... Yeah, do you want to go down the list? And kind of talk? So, got starting off with Australia, then China moves up to the second date. So it looks like they're trying to rebuild that relationship with China. Obviously... with a lot of political stuff that was going on. They couldn't start off with COVID, then it got to a bunch of political stuff. Now we're able to go to China and be able to race there. And then we're headed off. We're kind of staying on that eastern or that western side of the world with Australia, China, and then Japan. After that, first weekend of April. Then Bahrain gets moved up to week 4.
Yeah. Exactly.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, Bahrain's obviously a fun track. A lot of drivers like that, and so that's happening, as well as looking at the date of the season. When it starts, it's a little bit of a later start than normal.
You're right. I did just notice that.
So it's the 14th and the 16th of March, 2 weeks later than the season began this year. So you have a couple extra weeks for these teams to figure some things out. Looking at specifically Hungary, Belgium, they've swapped around. Hungary moving back to its traditional slot as the final race before the 4-week summer break. And then there is also a 2-week mandatory factory closure for teams, which is enforced, between Hungary and the Netherlands. Also, looking at a couple other things here on the list, you obviously have Monaco. That is going to be the 23rd to the 25th, of course. You have Imola, which is the weekend before. And then looking all the way down, this is a long season. You have December 5th to 7th in Abu Dhabi. That's late. That's very, very
time we had a December
late.
Race was 21.
Yeah, so
but then again, there was a bunch of stuff that happened that year that was
correct,
up in the air, a bunch of season changes. But it looks like they're staying. And you look at A lot of the stuff towards the end of the year has moved around. We kind of have we noticed this at the start of this year with Azerbaijan or Baku. Baku moving to way later down in the schedule.
Yep.
And then we have followed that by another street circuit at Singapore. Then we go to USA. Then it's Mexico. Then it's Brazil before we go to Vegas.
Yeah, so it's they split the USA dates. I think that's a good move because USA back to back, there's not.
Logistically, I feel like that'd makes sense though. Have three races all within. Like, what if they had all three races? Like 1, 2, 3. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think that would make sense logistically, but since the fact that Mexico and Brazil are still in, North America, it makes a lot of sense.
South America.
Yeah, South America. Excuse me. But yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. I don't know. I think it's a good split because, that just looking at the schedule, you don't really see that anywhere. Even with some of the, Italy and Monaco, they're very close. And then you have, Belgium, Hungary again. All these are somewhat close. So they try to format these to where teams are not going from like a Japan to the US, then over to Italy, where it's like all over the place. They try to group them together as best as they can. But I like the schedule. I think it's going to be a great season. It is also Formula One's 75th anniversary, which is huge. So that's obviously going to present a historic season as it is with 75 years being around there. So I think that's going to be cool. Other than that, though, Chad, looking at some other Formula One news, again, we have the Chinese Grand Prix this weekend. So we got to think about who's going to be at the top of the board. And if we're going with our podium picks, I think we may see a little bit of a shakeup because we haven't been here in a while. But I think you'll see Leclerc on the podium. I don't know where. I think he's got to get his act together a little bit because Carlos Sainz has outperformed him this year. So obviously we're only a few races in. So that, preface that.
Yeah, and Carlos Sainz, he also has a fire lit under his ass.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So you have to take that into consideration. You drive differently when you're wanting to show that other teams that, hey, I deserve to be in the sport, compared to when you have a secured seat in the sport.
Correct. Yeah.
But what I find really interesting about this is we haven't been here in a while, and we also haven't been here with this new car that was introduced in 22.
Yep.
So, obviously, it's not that different. Well, okay, I don't want to say it's not that different, but it's not as it is different than the cars we had in the past. All right, now when we 2022 was a massive season for NASCAR when they went to the next gen car because they had to replace almost all of their notebooks.
Yep.
They have a bit of an older, outdated notebook. All right, throughout the years. I don't know what kind of action this track has seen. Does this track have any rubber in it? Has this track been vacant for the past 4 or 5 years? All right, or 6 years. We don't know. But it is going to be interesting to see the way that it plays out. They're also going to have the, I believe I don't know if F1 Academy. I don't think F1 Academy will be there, but I do know that the Chinese F4 series will be there. I think it's going to be interesting. But as much as I hate to see it, as much as I would love to see, I think Red Bull's just going to figure it out. And I think we are going to see a Red Bull at the top. Probably going to be Verstappen. I do agree with you, but I am going to say this. I agree that we are going to see Leclerc on the podium, but we're also going to see Sainz on the podium.
Interesting.
That's what I think. I don't think Carlos Sainz is slowing down at all. I think he's not going to slow down until he has a secured spot for next year. Speaking of secured spots for next year, what do you think the odds are of Daniel Ricciardo even?
No.
I would hate to say it. And he was still involved in the sport last year as a reserve driver at the start of the year. Do you think there's even a possibility for that?
I don't. I think he would have more professional success if he jumped on board with Prema in IndyCar. I think it'd do it. I would
not be surprised by that.
Why not?
I will be going to a lot more IndyCar races.
Oh yeah, I mean we got Alabama. We have obviously the Music City Grand Prix. We have, I mean,
for me, I've got Mid Ohio. I've got Detroit. I've got Indianapolis.
Yeah, you got a lot of tracks there. So I say why not? I don't think I hate to see it, but like he's had his chance, and last week I think blew it. Or I guess 2 weekends ago. So there's that. But I know looking back at the last,
we're still at the start of the year. We've had 4 races this year.
Yeah,
we've got 20 races.
Yeah, we have a lot left.
We've seen a lot can happen in 20 races.
Yeah, I mean, if he could pull together a couple, point finishes, maybe get into the top 6. I mean, you would see potentially his year turn around next year. But looking back at the last time Formula One was at Shanghai, specifically the Shanghai International Circuit, you saw Lewis Hamilton and Mr. Valtteri Bottas finished 1-2 with Sebastian Vettel in 3rd, Verstappen in 4th, and Leclerc in 5th. So
remember those days?
Yeah, I mean, like that's
insane.
Yeah, so you saw a Mercedes at the top of the board. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think some couple drivers to pay attention to that will fare well here in China. Lewis for sure. Look at Max. Look at Charles. Look at Sergio. Albon.
First time here.
Yep, Albon, Sainz, Russell, and Norris. You have basically half the field who's been here, half the field who hasn't. And I think that this is going to be a good challenge for an Oscar Piastri, some of those newer drivers that have come in. But watch out for some of the experience. I think experience is going to speak volumes here this weekend. That's why I think Carlos Sainz and Leclerc, specifically Leclerc, but I think I'll go right there with you. I think that you're going to see Ferrari double podium. I don't know if it's going to be 1-2. I don't know if it's going to be 1-3, 2-3. It's hard to beat Max because Max did race back in China. When Lewis Hamilton was beating the field by 13 seconds too. So you have that going on, but I think you're going to see Red Bull, Ferrari, or some kind of combination of that this weekend in Shanghai. So I'm right there with you.
I mean, we have a 13-point gap between Perez and Verstappen, which I don't know how Perez has that, but looking for, we might see a lot of point shakes up, especially within the top 5, mainly the top 4 here, mainly 2nd through 3rd, if we're being honest. 64 for Perez, 59 for Leclerc, and 55 for Carlos Sainz. So I feel like that's going to be interesting. George Russell, Fernando Alonso currently tied on points.
Yep.
And then we look back here, and then 15th through 21st are all tied on points. Hopefully
it's tight.
Yeah, it is. Hopefully we can get an American podium in China or top 10. That'd be insane. That'd be something like everyone would talk about. But that'd be on the same level of Logan Sargent winning at Silverstone on 4th of July weekend.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
That was insane. I loved that. That was great. But
absolutely.
I think well, I think it's time for our local racing report.
Yeah, let's do it. Where are we at this week?
This week we are in Cleveland, Texas. I thought it was going to catch you off guard with that.
Cleveland, Texas?
Yes.
No, you didn't catch me off guard.
Oh, okay. Anyway,
I was actually looking at something else, so I kind of missed that. So I apologize. Oh my God, Cleveland, Ohio? Why are we in Ohio?
Cleveland, Texas here. So we had the hobby stocks, the street stocks, the IMCA Race Saver sprint cars.
The YMCA?
IMCA. Yeah, factory stocks, IMCA mod lights, and then the mini stocks. So, looks like they had a great field of cars throughout this entire weekend. So, let's go. We are at I-05 Speedway, or 105 Motor Speedway. Let's check out our results here. So, for the hobby stocks, 3rd place, started 2nd, finished 3rd in the 911 car, Nathan Renfro. Started 2nd, finished 2nd Actually, no, my bad. That's not where they started. Or it's weird when you're looking at your phone. I'm gonna be honest, but Cody Wade, the number 52, came home second, and then coming home with the win, the number 5B machine, Britt Seaman. Seaman. Don't lie. I'm the high schooler, or I'm the college. I'm not high school. No, damn it, no.
Chad is in high school.
No, wow. I'm not. No, I'm not. No.
Isn't it past your nap time?
I did take a nap.
Hey, dude. Hey, I'm not knocking naps. I love my naps.
Oh yeah. Looking at our street stocks now. Only an 8-car field. 1 car didn't even start the race, but started third, finished third. Philip Seals in the 93 started second, finished second. Rob Slott in the 48R and then the 17M started first, finished first. Locally from Cleveland, Jesse McNorton. So cool. Very interesting.
Cool.
With that, IMCA Race Saver Sprint cars. Always fun to see these guys. Third place in the number 7, Rod Craddock. Finishing second in the number 15, J.R. Thomas Johnson. And coming home with the win, started where he finished and finished where he started, Trey Schmidt in the number 12. Now going to our factory stocks. Finishing third in the 27B, we have Olin Holder, the 4th. Finishing second, we have Philip Seals in the number 93S, and coming home with the win in the number 56, Craig Pursley. Next up, we have IMCA Mod Lights. Starting third, finishing third, we have the number 46 of Dawson Fisher. Starting first, finishing second, number 8, Scott Jordan. And coming home with the win, started second, finished first, Corey Babbitt in the number 12. All right, IMCA Mod Lights. Let's see here. Started third. No, we just did the Mod Lights. Did we? Yes, we did. We just did the Mod Lights. My bad. Mini stocks. Started fourth, finished third. Blake Sonier, number 71. Number 32, started third, finished second. Steve Bertera, finishing second. And started first, finished first. In the number 3, Johnny Burrows. If you would like your local short track shouted out on the Flag to Flag podcast, email flagtoflag10@gmail.com or hit us up on any of our social media platforms. Listen out for those at the end of the podcast. Make sure you go out and support your local short track and bring a friend. Speaking of local short tracks, I will be at a local short track this weekend.
You will?
I will be at, once again, National Fairgrounds Speedway for the National Spring Series. For Bandolero and Legends, their spring national event. As well as we're going to have some pro trucks, and the super late model or the pro late models are back. So it's going to be interesting to see the way that plays out with Michael House winning last race. So
yep.
Yeah, I'll definitely talk a little bit about that. But yeah, so let's dive right into NASCAR now.
Yeah. So NASCAR was in Texas, and
it was a good. I can't believe I'm about to say this. We had some good racing in Texas.
It was a good race.
Good racing in Texas.
Like, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people actually, I see are on the fence about it because they're like, oh, these cars, you can't drive at these tracks and yada, yada, yada. You can't pass. I thought it was a good race. I mean, I watched it watched it through and then watched the ending. I thought it was a good race. Yeah, I thought it was a decent race. I mean, you had...
Looking at the truck series, I was going to go through the whole series.
Yeah.
Looking at the truck series, it was the Kyle Busch show. And the number 7 machine, just up front all day and came home with the win. Looking at the Xfinity series.
What a finish. What a finish.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my. That's 2 this year.
Yeah.
That is 2 this year. 2 insane finishes this year.
Yep.
In NASCAR. Stage 1, Justin Allgaier. Stage 2, Justin Allgaier. And, I mean, right at the line by .002 seconds. Sam Mayer. I mean, I thought it was insane with that one. I mean,
Yeah.
I wasn't able to watch the race, but
sucks for Ryan Sieg. Sucks for Ryan Sieg.
It does.
He was that close.
His ass off. He raced his ass off that race, and but I remember I had gotten to Pennsylvania and I looked at my phone and I showed it to my cousin, who he's one of those. He likes cool cars. He has a beautiful Mustang that if he ever drives it down here, I'll have to show you. But,
oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, and so but now let's look into the Cup. Let's look at the Cup Series. We had I don't want to say it was a surprise winner, but someone we haven't seen in victory lane in a very long time.
In a long time. Yeah.
And that was, I think it was a year and a half since we've seen it, which is a little insane. Kyle Larson got stage 1, Ross Chastain stage 2, and Chase Elliott taking home the win. So I think it was one thing that I think is really cool that I saw. This is something me personally I find cool is obviously me being involved with the legend cars and everything. All three winners were U.S. Legend Cars International alumni.
Oh, that's cool.
All of them had raced in Legend Cars in one form or another. Kyle Busch in Vegas. Sam Mayer, not 100% sure where he raced. I don't know if he just raced Bandas. I don't know. I'd never heard much of him in the Legends. And then obviously with Chase Elliott down in Georgia. So really cool and interesting there. But yeah, I thought it was going to be Kyle Larson's race. He was up front. He was fighting.
Wow.
And then under caution in the lead, if I'm not mistaken,
his tire comes off.
Tire just comes off.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is why in my picks, I didn't pick him because I've seen a trend with Kyle Larson at Texas. He got wrecked last year, and so did Reddick. I didn't pick either of them. And
where did Reddick end up? Reddick ended up 4th.
Yeah. So, but it sucks because he was the fastest car on the track.
Oh, without doubt.
By far, and he was the favorite to win. And he has a fast car at 1.5 miles. That car is dangerous, but something always seems to happen at Texas, especially last year.
Out of all of the laps recorded, Kyle Larson was the fastest car 44 of those laps.
Yeah. So it sucks because he would have won the race by far. But looking at the race itself, I thought it was a good product. You saw Chase Elliott finally get that win. He's locked himself into the playoffs.
I will say this. It was a good product. For the bar that is set for Texas, it was a good product.
Yeah, they exceeded the expectations for that track, which is a good step in the right direction. You gotta keep on doing that.
You know,
You saw Keselowski get a second place finish. Great for Keselowski. Good momentum going into a track, which I think he can win at this week. Byron, unfortunately, got into Chastain. Ruined my picks. Ruined them. Fucking ruined them. Just garbage, buddy. But my best pick of the week was William Byron, top 5. Got a 3rd place finish. So looking at the race, I thought it was a good race. You saw the cars get really, really free, though, in 3 and 4, and a lot of guys spin. Which I think is just a product of also the car, but the track. The track is so bumpy there. The car gets light. You get on the bump stops. It's going to go around. You can't, unless you set your ride height really high, which you don't want, there's going to be that gap there, which is going to get met. So I thought it was a great race, though. I thought, Chase Elliott, very deserving. And looking at specifically our standings, that locks another driver into our playoff bracket. So right now, you picked Elliott to make it. I'm going to highlight his name really quick. I picked Elliott to make it. Going to highlight that right there. So we both have 5 drivers that are currently in right now. Everybody else, Bell, Hamlin, Elliott. Did Bell win a race this year?
Yeah, he won.
Yeah, Phoenix. He did. Yeah, Phoenix. Byron Larson. Yep. Hey, Byron Larson, Elliott, Hamlin, Bell. Larson, Byron, Elliott, Hamlin, Suarez. My surprise pick at Atlanta. I still can't believe that one worked. So, looking at this week, we have.
It was good to see Suarez win. I don't know if I had him as a pick, but I'm still happy that he won.
Me too. Too.
That's one of those guys. That's one of those guys who you can't not like him.
Right. Especially when he's in the booth. He's a great personality. He's a great guy to have in the sport. So It's cool to see
He's kind of like a Daniel Ricciardo, where it's just like, you just don't like, you can't not like him.
Exactly.
It's okay if you don't cheer for him on a weekly basis, but
I will say I am one. Right. I will say I am one of his amigos. You know what I mean?
Because one of Daniel's amigos. Yeah.
Because I've told Sophia this. If I'm not cheering for Hendrick, I'm cheering for Trackhouse.
Really?
That is, I love Trackhouse. I love what they've been able to do. I love Chastain. I love Justin Marks. I love what they've done with their program, bringing in other previous successful drivers.
Did I see a Rusty Wallace shirt earlier before we started recording on Sophia?
Yep.
I was looking at that. I'm just like, that's not her shirt.
No, that's not. That is mine. But yeah, so exciting to see, Elliott win a race, Keselowski get a top 5. And so that's where we go into next, a track where Keselowski has been very good. You have Talladega Super Speedway. And this race, looking at the last 4 years in the next gen, 3 Chevrolet wins, 1 Ford win, the only win from Ford coming with Ryan Blaney back last year. But looking at, the last couple races here, a driver that I think could possibly get his first win of the season is going to be Kyle Busch. He has been notoriously good at the spring race at Dega, finishing 3rd and winning. So average finish of 1.5. That team needs a turnaround. And I think Talladega could be that, as well as Brad K. Momentum is so key for that team. And if they can win at a super speedway, watch out in the playoffs, because you may see what Chris Buescher did, at the end of that season, where he won, a couple right there with Daytona. Daytona and
it's
Richmond.
Insane, with this. We've also got ARCA and Xfinity Racing.
Yeah.
There, so that's going to be cool too. I mean, it's going to be. That's one of my bucket list tracks is Talladega, and Talladega. It's so hard to get a pick for that because it's such a wild card.
You don't know. That's why this week. That's what this week of my picks. I am not going to give picks. I'm going to give picks, but it's going to be look. I'm not even putting any money on these guys. Massive disclaimer. Don't trail these and don't put your 401k on this bullshit, because it's not going to work.
Because I was talking to one guy who he was thinking about betting on some racing. I think it was my cousin Matthew, and he wanted to bet. And was just like, why don't I bet on this race from Talladega? I'm like, okay. I'm like, right before they come to the white flag, if one of your guys is leading, change it. He goes, why? And I go, because they're probably not going to be leading when they come.
They're going to wreck. They're going to get wrecked. Or passed.
I don't want to say that. But obviously, when looking at picks for this, you have to look at some of the favorites. Obviously, we have. Let me see here. I'm trying to Okay, I can't find the buttons. I'm also about to sneeze, so.
Well, Chad is back from his little sneeze fest.
I am. That is weird. Why can I not?
What are you trying to find?
I'm trying to click on stuff with the race, but I can't click on anything.
I
was going to try and find the entry list and just kind of see some names, but okay.
I have the entry list right here.
Okay. So obviously, going into this, you have to look at people like Denny Hamlin. All right, these bigger guys. Bubba Wallace is a contender in this as well. But also, there's 2 guys who I think might have a good chance at getting it done this weekend, and they not just haven't gotten a win this year. This manufacturer hasn't gotten a win this year, and that's being Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney.
Yeah.
I think this is a good chance for them. Obviously, they're 2 really good restrictor plate track drivers, and but also, we might have some sneak ups in there. We might have people like Kyle Busch getting a win up in there, like Austin Dillon. And once again, it's Talladega. A wild card could be thrown into this at any given time. You never know. We might see another Michael McDowell win. We might see a Chris Buescher win or a Brad K win. You never know. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see the way that this plays out. I'm just going to go look at the standings. Maybe a Martin Truex, maybe a William Byron. William Byron's been able to make himself, a good name there.
He won the 500. It's a super speedway. So,
We got Logano, Keselowski, and then we got folks like Eric Jones, but then we look. What about But is it fair to say a Carson Hocevar? Is it fair to say a Josh Berry?
Carson Hocevar got a top 10 this past weekend.
He did, and I bet you he was very happy about that. Is it fair to say Ricky Stenhouse, Noah Gragson, Corey LaJoie?
Well, look at Corey LaJoie finished 4th in the Daytona 500. That means Spire has speed.
That is true, but I will say this, or hear me out. This is not even a wild card pick. Do you know who I'm about to say? I think you know who I'm about to say.
Okay,
I didn't know this. I didn't know this until you made a video about it.
Until I saw. Okay, on 3, he's gonna win this race. 3,
okay.
2, 1. Cody Ware.
The parole officers are back in town.
I would. I thought about going into betting this week.
Hey, let's tiptoe around this, okay?
I know.
Tiptoe around this.
I
know we're unfiltered, but we gotta draw the line somewhere.
So I've entertained the thought of just picking the most absurd odds this week, and one of those is going to be Cody Ware. Cody Ware is going to be. Bless you. He is back. I have thought of picking, like putting $1 on all these, drivers that don't really have a chance. But I mean, looking at, let's see, are Dega odds up? Dega odds are up. Dega odds. So okay, Cody Ware plus 25,000.
So okay,
if you bet $1,
is it higher, or is it better to have higher or lower odds?
So
the higher the odds, the more of a long shot.
So no, higher odds means you have a higher chance of winning.
Okay.
Low odds means it's a low chance of winning. As if I am doing this correctly, hold up. High.
I don't gamble. I figured for someone who gambles often like you'd know.
Well, I have high odds are like a steep mountain trail. It's harder to conquer, but it's big. Oh wait, no, high odds. Okay, yep. I flipped that actually.
That's what I thought.
High odds is something very unlikely to happen. Low odds means it's very likely to happen. Yeah. So Cody Ware, if he wins, if you put $1 on him, he wins. You win $250. Looking at some of these names here,
just put like a $1 bet on him.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Put a $1 bet on him.
Just Zane Smith plus 7,000, Justin Haley plus 7,000, Carson Hocevar plus 7,000. This is an interesting one, which I like a lot. Daniel Hemrick plus 10,000.
I didn't think about him. I'd love to see a backflip at Talladega. I'd love to see. Man, I miss Carl Edwards sometimes with the backflip, and I'm glad that Daniel Hemrick's bringing the backflip back. But he's got to get the job done in order for it to happen.
Also,
if
looking
Cody
at
Ware wins, NASCAR Twitter is going to look like Formula One Twitter.
Oh, it is going to be absolutely crazy.
I'm gonna get a bowl of popcorn, and I'm just gonna start scrolling. I'm like, it's gonna be good.
It is. Oh yes, it is.
If he wins, we are gonna dedicate a portion of next week's episode.
Oh, absolutely.
Just reading tweets about this.
Absolutely. But really quick, looking at the previous Super Speedway though at Daytona 500. There's a couple drivers that I want to pay attention to talk about because you saw them get involved with incidents. If you take a look at specifically, where are they? Where are you? Todd Gilliland. He was in an accident, but Todd Gilliland was at sometimes battling up in front of the field. You had another driver, Daniel Suarez. He got involved in an incident. He was 3rd in stage 2, 10th in stage 1. Look at a couple drivers here. You have William Byron. Obviously, William Byron finished in the top 10 in both stages, won the race. Kyle Busch finished in the top 10 in both stages and finished 12th. You had another driver. Let's see who else. I'm trying to find some more commonalities between some of these drivers here. Alex Bowman, he finished 4th in stage 1, ended up with where did Bowman finish up? Did he get in a wreck?
I'm not sure. I wasn't able to watch the 500. I was busy.
Yeah, I remember. Bowman finished 2nd. That's silly. Yeah, so Could this be a place where Bowman could get a win? I think you have some of these drivers that you have to look at previously at this year at Daytona with this new package that could be a big factor. Another driver that I want to throw in there, Noah Gragson, like you mentioned, top 10 at Daytona. Two out of the 3 Legacy Motor Club drivers, top 10s. At the Daytona 500, John Hunter Nemechek and Eric Jones, 7th and 8th. AJ Allmendinger, P6. Corey LaJoie, P4, with Zane Smith in P13. You have a lot of these. I think Spire. I think 23 or RFK. I think Legacy. This is where all these teams could come to play. Looking at RFK, it's 3 different manufacturers too. We know that those Toyotas have speed in the pack at super speedways. They qualify like shit, but they can be up there. So I'm not going to give a pick now. I can't give a pick. I don't know. I think it's going to be, if I had to, Kyle Busch or Brad K. Kyle Busch, Brad K. They got to get a win. And Kyle Busch has had an average finish of 1.5 in the spring race the last 2 years. I think that's something to say.
I think so too. And I'm gonna say I kind of agree with you with Kyle Busch. He was gonna be one of my picks. But I think I'm also gonna look at someone like Ryan
Ryan who? Ryan who? Chad.
Damn it!
Ryan
Blaney or Joey Logano, because for a few reasons. One, the Fords have speed. They have the speed. We've seen it in qualifying all year. The Fords have the speed. But, a track where speed isn't the biggest factor, obviously, but it is more of a factor than it is at one of these intermediate or short tracks.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm interested to see. But I'd love to see Blaney in the playoffs and fighting for it again to try and go back to back.
He's always a contender. A contender.
It's been a long time since we've had a back-to-back champion.
Actually, let's see. Let me look. I actually was just on the Talladega results. I will look right now. Who is the last time we've had back-to-back winners? It was Ryan Blaney back in 2019. Okay. Are you talking about the same year or just back-to-back wins?
I was talking just like drivers to win back-to-back championships. And let me see. I'm trying to find the most recent one.
Would be JJ. Wouldn't have been Johnson? Johnson?
Would it have been? Okay.
Had to have been Johnson.
I think it might have. And if that tells you anything about the last time we've had a back-to-back champion, imagine that happening today. And it's so hard to do that with this playoff format, which so many people dog the playoff format. I kind of like it.
I think it's...
It's more for the show.
Yeah, it definitely is.
But I kind of like it.
Most recent back-to-back champion was Jimmy Johnson, which was a four-time, 2006 to 2010.
That was not that can't be the most recent back-to-back champion.
It has. Yep.
Are you serious?
Yep, it is. 2010?
Yep. So it's been 14 years since we've had a back-to-back champion.
Correct.
Holy
I'm looking at the names right now. Blaney, Logano, Larson, Elliott, Busch, Logano, Truex, Johnson, Busch, Harvick, Johnson, Keselowski, Stewart, Johnson. So 5 in a row.
That is insane. That is in freaking insane.
Also, one thing I will have to say about this, another driver that I like this weekend, by purely dumb freaking luck and how this season has gone, William Byron. I'm going to tell you why. Do you know who won the 2005 Daytona 500?
2005. The guy on your shirt. Yeah, Gordon.
Do you know who won at Martinsville in 2005?
I'm going to say Gordon.
Do you know who won the first race at Texas? This is an odd one. In 2005. My bad. Atlanta.
Gordon?
Carl Edwards. You know what car he drove? The 99.
The 99 or the 9?
The 99.
Wait, the 99 as in... Okay, I'm listening.
So there's been a really odd trend this year where this season is kind of not a lot, but like the 24 won the Daytona 500, the 99 won at Atlanta, the 24 won at Martinsville. There's been some similarities between the 2005 season to the 2024 season. I don't know who won at in COTA. I'm not going to count because COTA wasn't on the schedule back in 2005. But for current tracks, the 24 has mirrored Jeff Gordon's season back in 2005. Who won at Talladega in 2005?
Was it Gordon?
Jeff Gordon. So now
I mean that is. You're a numbers guy. You're an odds man. The odds of that happening.
Right, but also listen to this.
Come back down to earth, John.
Listen to this. I don't know where I saw this, but it is true. I looked it up. There was a race. The last race was it Texas, or the last time that what was it? There was a similarity between Chase Elliott's win and the 6-car winning, going back all the way to Bill Elliott and Mark Martin. Some weird connection there that it mirrored this past weekend at Texas. I don't know. I have to go back and find it, but all I got to
Do you believe in like conspiracy? Like, do you think the moon landing was fake?
No, but I believe in some odd things happening. There's been a lot of similarities this season. I will say there's been some weird things. Let me see how many
The only thing that I've ever seen was in 1998. Dale Earnhardt Sr. won the Daytona 500 after 20 years of trying.
Yeah.
What happened 20 years later? Austin Dillon in the number 3
won. Oh, at 2018.
I was at that race in 2018. And speaking of that, I am working. This is still an idea right now, but if we end up going back to Florida next year, like we did this year, I may or may not decide to. I've got a buddy who lives in Daytona. I may or may not decide to get us some tickets, and I maybe I might be going to the 500. I don't know.
Dude, absolutely.
It'd be fun. It'd be great, but
it'd be so fun.
It would, and I'm already, and I'm just surprised. I think it's because I have adult money now.
Yeah.
That is the reason I'm going to a lot of these things.
Yeah, makes sense.
But yeah, so like I'm still getting I had my entire Charlotte trip planned out until I realized my brother was graduating the same weekend. So now it's a little bit of a mix up, but
right.
Yeah. Then I'm going to be at the NASCAR race in Nashville, then the Roval race, which will be fun, but yeah.
Yeah. Another thing, just throwing this out there for weird situations, it's kind of flipped, but the only two manufacturers to win up until Talladega was Chevrolet and Ford. No other
2005.
In 2005, and there's no other car manufacturer has won. The first win that came from a different manufacturer outside of Chevrolet and Ford came in the Chevy American Revolution 400, which was at Richmond.
Hamlin won Richmond, right?
Yeah, Hamlin won Richmond. That's why, like, this schedule, you have to kind of, like, take it with a grain of salt because, like, I'm going with, like, first time there, second time there. So, like, Dodge won that with Casey Kane in the 9. But, again, this is totally by happenstance. I don't know if this is going to be true. But if I picked every race that Jeff Gordon won in 2005 to pick William Byron to win that race, he has won that race. Now, it's not looking good the rest of the season. That's all I gotta say. It's not looking good the rest of the season. But do you know who won the championship that year?
The 2005?
2005.
Was it Gordon? I don't think it was Gordon.
It was not Gordon.
Gordon won it in 01. Was 01 his last championship he won? No, he won another one after 01. Or was 01 his last championship?
01 was his last one.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Jeez. And because he had a shot at it in 2017.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who won the 2005 NASCAR Nextel Cup? I'll give you a hint.
It wasn't Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch won in 03.
Yep.
because that's the same year I was born. I don't know. Who was it?
I'll give you a hint. This driver has won this season in the same car.
Not Denny Hamlin.
No.
Not Larson. Not Bell. Not Byron. He's won this season. He has won, or the car number has won?
The car number has won.
Car number has won. You're screwing with me, John. All right. What?
He drives.
It wasn't Carl Edwards.
No, he drives the number 20.
Tony Stewart.
Yeah. So, could we see Christopher Bell win the championship this year?
Or could we see a Stewart-Haas car win the championship this year?
Or could work well? Yeah, and the way it's going, like this. I mean, Tony Stewart won a handful of races back to back, a lot.
Oh yeah.
So he won at the Glen,
also
one at the Brickyard.
Back then.
Correct. So this is all just for shits and giggles. But
this is the part where we just tap into John's like theoretical thoughts.
Theoretical crap. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's again, it could happen. You never know. But this weekend is Talladega. I'm still going with the 8 and the 6.
I'm gonna go with the 8, 12, and 22.
Yeah. 8,
preferably
12,
the 12, but yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. That kind of rounds us up. Got a full weekend of racing though, so that's good to see.
We do.
We got Long Beach, then we got China, then we have Dega.
And I won't be able to watch it. I will not be able to watch it. I'm going to watch that back all the way through. When I get back, I'm not going to post shit until then. Like, my phone is going to be a do not disturb, so don't send me any messages, please. Please, chat.
I'm gonna text you throughout the entire race.
No.
So the last text you're gonna see is like I'm just gonna text you. You know what? I'm not gonna text you anything unless anything happens to William Byron. If anything happens to William Byron, I'll text you.
Okay, so if I don't get a text from you, that's a good thing. Yeah. So
I'm joking. Alrighty.
Good weekend of racing. You got Long Beach this weekend. That's on Saturday at 3 o'clock Eastern. You have Talladega 3 o'clock Eastern on Sunday as well. And then the Chinese Grand Prix at 2 a.m. Central Time, 3 a.m. Eastern Time. That one is going to be rough. I don't think I'll watch because I have to be up the next morning to be in a wedding. So
I've got to drive home the next morning.
Exactly. So that wraps up the Flag to Flag podcast. Make sure to follow us on all of our social channels and subscribe if you've gotten to this point of the episode. We're going to put out more short form content. We are working on that probably as you are listening to this. So hit us up on any of our social channels. Follow us at Flag to Flag Podcast. That's everywhere: TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and on Instagram. It's Flag to Flag _podcast. Until next time, we have reached the checkered flag. We will see you next time.
Peace. That was weird.
That was weird. See you, brother.